All right, so let's talk about the first season of X-Men 97, right? So after the first 3 episodes aired, Ricardo and we talked about those 3 episodes before in the previous episode. Thoroughly enjoyed them. We had speculations in terms of where the story or stories were going to go and whatnot. And we just sort of sat it out for the next 7 episodes. And here we are now. The season has wrapped up. Everybody praising it to high heaven and whatnot. And of course, yeah, we have to talk about the season here, right? But in this case, we're not gonna do it alone. We have Daniel and we have Tracy here. So yeah, just letting you all know, folks, we're going to get into spoiler territory, right? But for the sake of those who have not seen the show as yet, we will just pretty much have like a short, spoiler-free section, and then afterwards we will get into just heavy spoilers, right? So, Ricardo, if you don't mind, you think you could do like a summary of this season here without spoiling too much?
Sure. The people at Marvel cooked. Bode Boy cooked.
Yes.
They wrote something really good. They basically did the thing that I felt the movie should have done 10 years ago, right? Because we're going to get into X-Men First Class. Sorry, not X-Men First Class. Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past, yeah.
And why I think they dropped the ball with that ultimately. Like, that film is good, but like what followed up was pretty bad, in my humble opinion. And they finally, for lack of a better term, scratched the itch that they should have scratched 10 years ago with this, which is catering to X-Men 92, the time, the aesthetic. Anybody remember that badass Konami game in the arcade? Great. All of that came in.
I played that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big fan of that. I spent a ton of quarters on that. I can tell you off the top of my head where every one of the country was with that. Well, at least every 6-player version. I can tell you where every 4-player version was. But yeah. Right. But yeah, no, basically they just did a decent continuity of the material and in really intelligent ways, and they carried the argument in a smart way. And then they did something which I felt was a real good, like, smart break from the MCU, because they did something, as I saw this especially in the last episode, which to me felt like almost like a kind of reiteration of a proper critique of the MCU, and could lead to a potential storyline going forward, and so on and so forth. But why it works is that they stick to the core themes. What does make X-Men work is Professor X and Xavier, and everything involving their personalities, their worldviews, the conceits about, how to think about the world, all of that stuff. That's why this worked. This was just really smart, really well done. And yeah, I can't really be mad at it, who it is. They stick to these ideas and they make it work. So just really smart writing. And the guy who's named Bodemayo. It's a shame what went down with him, but like, he need to stick around. That kind of stuff.
No, well, I think if I'm not mistaken, I saw it last week. I think they're bringing him back, Right. We're sorry, bro.
He's up for season 2. He's up for season 2 in terms of like what his stuff was there. But Brad Winterbaum, or whoever the head of Marvel Television, said recently that from season 3 they're going to be getting a new head writer for the show, which that's another conversation. But his ideas and his vision is going to continue on in terms of season 2, and then
Well, yeah. Any which way, bro, cook, and give me something truly fantastic. Really, like, this is how you're supposed to do this, right? This is what you're supposed to do with this. Not wasting time with like all the things that we hate about like MCU stuff and just the general comic book trends. He break from that, but he cater to fan service in smart ways, like, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I thoroughly love they really cooked here. They stuck to the core themes, evolved it very well from core conceits where I as a fan know where the positions are from before in terms of the ideas. And well, of course, the Armor Boy Magneto cooked for the entire season. I mean, total MVP.
Oh yeah, boy. Yeah,
but
boy.
They even sell great conceits of other characters and even made them sympathetic in interesting ways. I think, all right, that worked. Yeah, very great and organic use of cameos. None of it felt clumsy or bogged down in a narrative. It didn't bog down the narrative. None of it felt like that. All of it felt organic. I really thought they were going to do certain things, but they end up going some way or other way. When I saw a certain thing happen, I was like, oh, they're going to do this. And then they frame the conceit as it is. And look, this I'm so hype is like, wait now, why don't they just put a next 16-bit game, Judd? You know, like you see, if anybody play Shredder's Revenge, that's a recent TNT game. That great.
Oh, you know, I still haven't played that, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, great Turtles game. They should do something like that for this Dread. You know, cross market that line with season 2 come out or something. But yeah, they cooked here. This was truly fantastic for me. I really thought this would get worse over time or like peter out as mediocre, and it only get better. I have a couple of slight nitpicks with the finale itself, but we'll get to that.
Right. So, quick thoughts, right? And then we'll get to Daniel and Tracy, right? So, quick thoughts, right? So, I recapped. Well, all right. So, I was watching weekly, right? Like everybody else, right? But what I did, right, for the finale, I recapped the first 9 episodes and then jumped in the last one, right? So, I basically binged everything in one day, right? And for me, I felt like just like a lot of like MCU shows that I've seen over the past 3 years, I think that it works best, I would say, right? You know, because everybody can watch it however they want to, but I think that it works best if you just binge the whole thing out, right? Because I was actually amazed at how well told the stories were, right? From episode 1 till then, right? Because I would admit, you know, like for me, you know, because, you know, we consume a lot of content every single week, right? You know, you see one episode and you get excited and you're waiting to see what happens next. And you have to try to remember what happened, you know, in that last episode and the previous episodes before you jump into the new one and stuff like that, right? You know, that's just how my brain is, right? Like I wouldn't remember every single thing, right? But seeing how the stories played out from start to end, though, I was amazed by this, right? Because, you know, at first glance, you're just thinking, oh, you know, they're just going to throw a bunch of references and nostalgia beat and all this kind of stuff over and over and over. And it's just all these things just to trigger the fans, just to get them excited and riled up. But no, it really did feel like they sat down, they took the time to say, okay, this is the stories we want to tell, right? Whether it's Cyclops and how he feels, you know what I mean, seeing that Xavier was dead, right? His relationship with Jean Grey and how that gets complicated, right? We'll get to that in the spoiler territory, right? What happens to Storm and Wolverine and just pretty much everybody else, right? And in particular Rogue, though, like I was surprised at the amount of time that they spent with her and how they related to Magneto's, you know, more or less.
Well, it gets kind of soap opera. It gets kind of soap opera a little bit.
Bro, that's X-Men, bro. That is X-Men. Because the melodrama this is one of the rare examples where melodrama does actually work with these characters.
Yeah.
Generally doesn't work with anybody else. But these characters, especially like Storm, Judd, like they're cool.
Like the way how she talks is pure melodrama though.
Pure drama, yeah.
Well, the melodrama also kind of worked for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man as well, so.
Right.
Well, true, right? And remember that was coming off the heel of like the popularity of that 90s Spider-Man, right?
You know what I fall in love with this is when they flip it back on Bryan Singer with the line Cyclops tells people. Yeah, classic.
Yes. Classic, I remember that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But you know, just how the stories themselves were were structured, though, I absolutely love, right? It has the feel of, okay, we're gonna have these stories, and you know, it'll play like a part 1 and part 2, whatever, and then you'll have, like in the case of, you know, Jubilee and Sunspot, we'll have like this little mini story here. But even that and all, you know, comes back a little bit later because, you know, you see how their relationship is affected later on, right? Especially when he reveals himself to be a mutant to his family, right? But you will get to that. It's spoilers, right? But yeah, though, just in terms of the execution, though, this was fantastic, man, right? I will say, as it starts off, it's a little bumpy, it's a little rocky because, you know, you had to kind of readjust yourself to it, right? You know, it's X-Men 97, so we have to adjust ourselves to the anime style take on the 90s style of how, you know, the original show was, you know what I mean? So it takes a little while to get used to there, you know what I mean? A little lip syncing issues here or there, but that's fine, right? But once it and then of course, you know, the soap opera-ish dialogue and whatnot. No lie though, episode 3, slight spoiler, when Cyclops was saying, "You don't know what it's like to be abandoned," that had me cracking up, dude. That was so funny, you know, because of how overly melodramatic it was, right? But again, that's the will of X-Men. That's how it is, right? But I would say it just kept growing and just kept sticking to his guns, and it just got better and better and better. Of course, episode 5 is where things took a complete 180. Though I would say for most people who probably was planning to give up on the show, yeah, episode 5, I was like, oh, no, we're gonna stick with it. You know what I mean? And then from there, things just ramped up from there. You know what I mean? But yeah, as Ricardo said, right, where they took the original arguments, especially with Xavier and Magneto, how they explored that, I was like really amazed by how they did that, right? They made it feel fresh, they made it feel, new, and because yes, we've seen the debate between almost say Wolverine, right, between Magneto and Xavier for like what 3 decades now, right? In media, right? But here they still found a way to make it feel relevant and feel fresh and whatnot, right? Action sequences I thought was superbly handled, though. You know what I mean? Very anime inspired, of course, though. But there's like this kinetic energy to it too, and of course there's just these great moments where you hear the theme song playing and you're just seeing like the X-Men is doing a thing, and it's just a lot of fun to see, right? Speaking of music, the Newton brothers, boy, oh my god, boy, they did not mess around. They cooked it. Like, we thinking about them as, oh, they the Stranger Things guys, right? But nah, them came through and say, hey, we can do epic music too, Like, I know when it comes to X-Men, always look to Henry Jackman, right? But hey, we could do epic music too. And they came through with a fantastic score, man. I love their take on the classic X-Men theme song as well.
Don't they also collaborate with Mike Flanagan on some of his stuff?
Oh, they did. Oh, all right. Oh gosh, for they worked on Folly House of Usher, right? I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Did they?
They work on like a lot of his movies. I know for sure. Like they work on Doctor Sleep, and they work on Ouija, Origin of Evil, I think.
Right. And as I say, Doctor Sleep. Now, I like that. They still incorporate the 80s synth worship, I mean? They love that 80s synth stuff, right? They still manage to work it into the 90s soundtrack as well, right? And it totally works there, right? The characterization, though, I thought was strong throughout, though, you know what I mean? A few characters, unfortunately, get sidelined, though. Like, unfortunately, I felt we could have gotten more out of Bishop because he just kind of came and went. I understand why. Yeah. But he kind of came and went. Yeah. But like, the popular characters, whether it's Wolverine or Storm and Rogue and, even Morphinol to get some characterization as well, was great, right? Where they took some of the villains, and just took them into some deep dark corners, though, especially like Henry Gyrick and who else by
Bastian himself.
Bolivar, Bastian, yeah. and the main villain himself, Bastian, as well, too. I was like, what? Just taking them into deep dark corners, right? I also love how purposefully
extinction. Tolerance is extinction.
Yeah. That I would say right. Tolerance is extinction. Sorry, that 3-part. Well, I would say that's basically the third act of this whole season, though. Was fan freaking tastic, though. Where they took the characters and especially how they raised the stakes, though. It's like, my god, like there were moments where I was literally on the edge of my seat, like just wondering, oh, will this character come out alive? You know what I mean? Because when we get these spoilers, it's like, yeah, don't get attached to people so quick. You know what I mean? This is not that type of show, right? And lastly, what I love about this show, though, is that it really does feel like the show itself grew up. It got mature, but it wasn't done in an overly edgy way. Like, yes, it is a TVPG show, right? And there are moments where it's like, wow, like I would not have imagined, like that wouldn't have we wouldn't have gotten away with that back in like back when the old show was out, right, when it was on Fox Kids or whatnot, right?
Yeah, that's what also was quite impressive, is that the show felt like it grew up. It didn't feel like it was running in place, like certain shows like Futurama.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for the heads up. I have not even gotten back into that show, but thanks for the heads up.
Exactly. But even stuff like, say, like when Animaniacs was brought back or stuff like that, that still felt like it was kind of running in place, in my opinion. Like, it just like, well, yeah, okay, they're doing it, but you didn't really change the core conceits or what just make it work. And some people enjoyed it for what it was. It never felt like it was evolved. It just felt like, oh, they just catch up with the world and then tell the same jokes. But none of it evolved. But this felt like it evolved. It took the same arguments, evolved it in my opinion, very smart ways.
Yes.
Continued discussion, put things in not the best light that would have been put in a much better light back 30 years ago, whatever it is. And yeah, they made it like surprisingly more intelligent and nuanced, in my humble opinion, and just frankly more mature. Like usually with this kind of stuff, you would think, when I say mature, you usually think, it would not be that way because whatever it's a cartoon or whatever it is, you're dealing with goofy sci-fi stuff. But no, they made it really work.
Yes. I absolutely agree, right? But it wasn't done in an edgelordy, cynical, overly cynical kind of way neither, right?
Right.
It wasn't that like, the dream is dead and blah 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 blah, and everybody must take things seriously, so it must be blood and death and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like when things happen, like when really serious dramatic moments happen, they feel organic. They feel like they need to happen. It's not done as shock value or just to get a rise out of you, right? It works with the story.
And it's had actual stakes, stakes.
Yes.
Very, very, again, very organic concerns, like stuff that felt, again, the tolerances extinction bit is great. That's great stuff in the beginning. It's like, oh yeah, well, when you think about it, that's kind of correct.
That is
not
true.
wrong. You know, that kind of stuff. Now it's like he actually make you think about the argument. Now, like again, it's still sci-fi silliness, but they make it. They make the context really work. Like really.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, in closing with this, with my spoiler-free review, Marvel Studios went above and beyond the Call of Duty to make X-Men 97 work, though. You know what I mean? Because like just thinking about it, though, like just on paper, that's a huge gamble. Just saying, here's what we're gonna make a new season of a show that wrapped up in the late 90s, right? Or sorry, mid 90s, right? And we're gonna make it still feel fresh and relevant now than it did back like in the 90s, right? But keeping in mind though that the people who grew up on that show in the first place are adults, right? And we've seen the evolution of the superhero film genre over the past few decades, right? So yeah, we can't come. Yes, even though we need the nostalgia, right? It's not burdening you down with the nostalgia. They make the nostalgia work in really smart and clever ways, right? So yes, you'll see references to to old story arcs. You'll see characters who you remember, he was in a particular two-part or whatever it is, right? And it works. Like it feels like it literally is a continuation of what we got before, right? And yeah, they really knocked it out of the park with this one, right? So thoroughly impressed by this. So Daniel, your spoiler-free thought on this first season here.
I love it. Yes.
Right.
Once they hit you with that intro, it's like the nostalgia hits you like a truck. Oh my lord! Uh-huh. But yeah, This show is clearly made by somebody who loves the X-Men, loves loves the original series, loves the comics. It's like, yeah, I can't be mad at any of this. I loved. Well, the show maintains that Magneto is like the ultimate sympathetic villain, the man who survived the Holocaust, and then once it was revealed that he was a mutant, he was attacked not only by the Nazis but also by his own people. It's like, my God, they make up
and speaking of Magneto, sorry to interrupt you there, right? That hashtag is so truthful, right? Magneto is right. Yep, he is right.
There will be t-shirts.
There will be t-shirts. Yeah. They make a very persuasive argument to be on Magneto's side. It's like, you start to question Xavier. Like, really, you think your peaceful protest is gonna work? Or are we gonna just join the Malcolm X side now? It's like, yeah, it really makes you think. I love the characters. It went in directions that I didn't think that they would go. Like, especially coming down to the end, and also in the middle with the Genosha stuff. But yeah, I really love this. There were I need to address something right now about the whole thing about, are they gonna make the X-Men woke? It's like, I hate that argument that whole thing that X-Men is woke. Like, come on. If you're saying that, y'all clearly don't know the X-Men. Like, y'all never read X-Men comics. I mean, come on, one of their most famous storylines, the antagonist of one of their most famous storylines is a priest. Come on, in case y'all don't know, William Stryker is supposed to be a reverend, not a military guy. So yeah. I'm fine. I love this show and I can't wait to see more. That's all I gotta say. But now, when we get into spoilers, we'll get into the nitty gritty of everything and why I love it.
Right. So before we get to that nitty gritty, Tracy, tell us why you love X-Men 97. Unless you do it.
Well, so no, I think this is one of those times where we are all in actual unison in terms of how absolutely stellar this show was. But I will throw this out for anyone who's listening. While X-Men 97 was absolutely great, I advise, I implore, I hope to all high heaven that fandom understands that not every project that comes out of Marvel Television, because now they have their own branded thing, so not every project that comes out of Marvel Television is going to be or needs to be X-Men 97. You need to have good writing, you need to have good characters, you need to have good story development, but the inevitable comparison that is already starting to take place in terms of how this plays and what it does and all that kind of stuff like that, we're not going to get that, nor should you expect that from all other projects. X-Men 97 did its thing beautifully because we all had, yes, we had a little bit of the nostalgia because we all grew up on it, and then now that we're grown, we get a little bit of something from our past that has come forward, but it is also good on its own just as a show of itself. Don't expect that from everywhere else. That being said, X-Men 97 is like, I would have just been fine if it was, okay, we just continuing, and I know that they brought back some of the original voice actors and that kind of stuff, so like the original Rogue, the original Storm, that's brilliant, and I would have been fine with that. But the levels of how they broke you every week, the levels of almost therapy kind of levels of, okay, are you prepared for what is about to come? Even Bo coming on Twitter ever so often and telling you, this is your homework for the next 2 weeks. This is what you need to read to prepare yourself for episode 6, and this is what you need to read to prepare yourself for it. It is so stellar. It is so brilliant. The entire team that worked on this was really well. And I particularly love, without going into much detail, I particularly love how Jubilee got a bit of a glow up in episode 4, and then towards the finale, how that played itself out.
Right.
You actually gave her a bit more than, no, she's not just sparkly fingers. Which again, when you look at the films, every one of these films kind of try to poke in a Jubilee, but she's always just at the side, the peripheral kind of something. And it's like, oh, she's wearing those colors, so that actress must be Jubilee. But to have her come in and actually shine was brilliant. I look forward to season 2. I look forward to season 3. I must say I'm a little bit apprehensive in terms of them saying that they're going to get a brand new head writer. My only hope is that whoever becomes the head writer for season 3 moving forward is someone from within the pool, as in someone who worked on this team originally, because I know that there was, well, from what I read, what he keeps talking and saying things, this is Bo, there was originally plans for like a 5-season arc. So if given all the circumstances...
What they laid on here, it have 5 seasons worth of material they laid on.
No.
Right here.
I mean, even without going into spoiler territory, the way how the finale ended, I know a lot of people thought it was going to go one way and then it veered into another way, but they could still pull that back and say there's residual X, Y, and Z, and this could.
Right.
So I am 100% ready. Like right now on Twitter, as in today on Twitter, there's a report where from one of the trades where they're talking about they're in the animatic stage of building season 2, that is like, moving all these storyboards and they're doing the animatics. So we know it'll be a while before that happens, and we know that there's some other things, there's some other shows that's coming out from Marvel Television, animated pieces and that kind of stuff. But I am so happy with X-Men 97. I am legitimately happy for it. And I am waiting for, I think it's either May 24th or May 26th, when that soundtrack is released. I will be a completely insufferable person when that soundtrack is released. But yes, that's how I feel.
So let's get to spoilers. Wow,
Right.
so much to talk about, right? So allow me to begin, right? One arc that
one thing. First of all, this series had just one job to do, and I think it accomplished it very well. It is undo the damage that the Fox X-Men movies did to Cyclops.
Yes, the hyper
Cyclops.
Oh boy.
The big boy worked through it. Like just a little simple, like how these fight, and it's like, oh, that's X-Men versus Street Fighter though. Like, what's going on here?
Episode 1, right? The man lands on Earth though with an optic blast surgery, and the man had the balls to just pull off.
No parachute, no parachute. That's hardness.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But that's just to kick things off, right? One. All right, just thinking in terms of certain characters and story arcs, right? So one thing that caught me by surprise, right? Did not expect in a million years how episode 2 ended with, oh, you know what I mean, this is Jean, so who's the Jean that we've been seeing since the show started, right? So in other words, the incorporation of Marlon Pryor, I did not see that coming a mile away, but I thought that it made for a really solid quick story arc as well too. I love how it ends where basically she leaves and we see that she ends up going to Genosha, and then her son, she is the actual mother actually, Nathan, who of course is Cable, is sent with Bishop to the future, right? If I just have a tiny gripe though, I thought we were gonna get an episode involving Nathan and Bishop in the future. We didn't get it. We didn't get that, unfortunately.
You know what we see in the finale?
Explain that.
We're gonna show that.
Yes.
Cyclops is not gonna be a deadbeat dad. He's not going to be a deadbeat.
God, yeah. God.
Another interesting thing too is that, well, all right, so big spoilers for the ending. That I don't think that Nathan is Nate Summers. It's Gray.
Yes, Nate Gray.
I don't think that's right. Because they had the daughter too, Rachel Summers. That's the old woman.
Okay. I didn't know who she was. Okay.
Right. I was like, oh, right. So they basically have all Jean and Cyclops sharing. That's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big moment of the franchise again when Magneto said enough. Probably this is probably my favorite moment to the entire season when he did the pulse. So I'm like, oh well, they're doing Fatal Attractions, right? And well, Fatal Attraction brings off a character that comes from this. It's very, very. It's a character I don't like, but it's a very famous 90s character, Onslaught.
Yes.
I don't like Onslaught. Onslaught's a little too basic, but like I thought he was gonna get Onslaught at the end.
I thought so as well. Yeah. Because of how big the stakes were, and because it's Magneto and Xavier.
Well, it would have been a great end to the season if it was like, oh shit, Xavier leave Magneto catatonic now or something like that. But I know where they went with, and where they went with was still pretty good. I still really liked it. But I really thought you were going to end it with Xavier having to force himself to basically take down Magneto in that way. But I straight out of Fatal Attractions.
Yeah,
but we're still gonna get Onslaught because I mean, why else have all those cameos? Because it's like the entire Marvel universe had to take on Onslaught, not just the X-Men.
That's true.
Well, to me, the mere fact they did the whole mind meld thing now, like the mere fact they did that's gonna be there. Like that's it. They already planted the seeds for it. But they give you Apocalypse and they hype up with Apocalypse. So like, all right, we get Apocalypse. Go ahead.
And also Remy is coming back as a horseman.
Right, as a horseman and most likely Death.
As Death himself.
Right. Yes. What I thought they were going to do, well, here's the thing. There's a story that I feel they might do it similarly. So anybody remember Wolverine and the X-Men?
You know, I never watched that show. I never watched that series. I know it was out, but I never watched it.
Yeah, it was a solid enough show. But basically what they did was, it was a storyline where they had the X-Men in multiple timelines. Well, not timelines, kinda, but like multiple time periods, having to solve a single problem now, right? And then they did an Age of Apocalypse storyline in that now. So like, all right, they might pull from that in that sense now. At least we know it could be done in a workable sense now. It's like, all right, yeah, Apocalypse good, great, and they were on the frame of Apocalypse. And well, for now, at least in the past, he's a good guy, maybe, or at least helping them out. We don't know, but they know who he is. So time to shit your pants. Them kind of thing though. I just really, really like what they set up. One last thing. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of Gambit, right? Episode 5, right? I know that is a beloved episode. Well, I shouldn't use beloved, right? Because that broke a lot of people's hearts, right?
Yeah.
Personally, for me, Like, it wasn't like the red wedding, moment of a season 3 of Game of Thrones or the season 5 finale of it, right? I did feel that moment though, and I really applaud Marvel Studios. Well, I should say Bo and his team for actually putting it out, right? But I think if it would have rubbed off the wrong way if Gambit had just died when he got stabbed by Master Mole, but because he do the move now where he kind of just activate himself and say, my name is, Gambit, remember it, right? That's what really that's what really struck me the most. So the mere fact the man went out like a hero, right? You know what I mean? Was just get stabbed, boom, and that was it, right? And even at the same time too, what Magneto had to go through as well. Like when he rescued I forgot the name of that Moloch kid, the Leech, right? And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that I recap that episode because it's a blink in the missing moment where he just kind of reflects. He just has these couple of flashbacks to his Holocaust past, and like, what? Right. Okay, and that's why he tells the kid, you're gonna be okay. He tells him that in German. Like,
he uses a train. Yeah, he uses a train to attack the
yeah, man, that was hard though. I love that.
Right? To whip the Sentinel.
Yeah, and just lastly about that sequence, that whole attack on Genosha is pure animation.
So I don't know if this is
style of it with the excessive explosions and how people just get wiped out quick. That's some pure animation. I don't
know if this is true, but Bo said that he referenced the Pulse nightclub shooting with that as one of the references to it.
Bo was saying that from episodes 1 to like 1-3 or 1-4, it's kind of like your childhood, your teenage years, that kind of stuff, everything that was there. From 5, moving on, you have things that you, as a millennial, that you grew up dealing with. It's wars, it's the Twin Towers,
right?
9/11 with the Twin Towers. It is even the Pulse, that whole Pulse nightclub, and then some shootings that keep going on, where tragedy happens, and because it's not your people, you kind of keep that apathetic sensibility towards it. So the idea of wiping out an entire group of people in one fell swoop, it was partly that inspired. And then, of course, there's the comic book on it, but that was partly inspired.
Right. I mean, as what Bastion said, you bully an underdog enough, the world will start to feel sorry for them. So.
Right. Yeah. By the way, Bastion had some bars though.
Also, wait. One more thing. Is no one gonna comment about the fact that the Tifa line from WandaVision? The Tifa line from WandaVision.
Can't feel you.
I can't feel you.
Right.
I can't feel you. Right. The Tifa line from WandaVision.
I did not realize that. That was the last line at the end of episode 5, right? When he cut the black, it's like, I can't feel you, and it ends like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But before we get to Tolerance is Extinction, right? Just touching quickly on those, episode 6 and 7. No surprise that Storm was gonna get back she powers. And the moment she lost in episode 2, it's like, she can't get that back, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a little too big for them. But I find it made it really work for what it was. But
I do like that it is a matter of, her own fears. Up to the point that I was actually wondering if that adversary character, by the way, points for the creature design though, like the adversary is such an intimidating creature. That's how it looks. So it's like this gigantic demonic owl dread. It looks so messed up, right? But yeah, like at a point in time I was thinking, is this Storm's own phase? Because I like how they incorporate the whole is claustrophobia she has? Or claustrophobia. Yes, I was wondering if this was a figment of her own imagination, right? But then again, I am not familiar with the character Forge, who she meets, right? So that whole adversary character is a part of Forge's story arc, but I don't know much about Forge, so I was like, oh, okay. So, in other words, I was introduced. This was the first time that I was introduced to the adversary character, but I like that this was the thing that was holding back Storm, right? And then, of course, when Storm gets she powers back, it is so glorious, and she
classic outfit and everything.
The original,
I mean, that's out of the blue. Nobody knows, nobody cares. It's like, I have a new suit. Nobody cares how I get, whatever.
Listen, it's a magical build transformation, so I was here for it.
No, well,
it was the.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was the filler episodes, but even it was the filler episodes, but the filler episodes were good as well. So
speaking of that filler episodes, right? I actually like that short one, Motendo, right? It's just to say, hey, Jubilee turned 18, and
it's a homage.
Yeah, and she like right, exactly,
yeah.
and she like Sunspot, right? But yeah, the homages to the games were perfect, though. I just love that. I love that it's my boy Mojo come back, though. And just the bit to talk about, lose weight, a little nip, a little tuck. That had me laughing, though. It was just so funny how he did that, right?
Right.
But yeah, as a throwback to the 90s game, though, I love that. Sorry?
I know Mojo's supposed to be real disgusting, but I was just cracking up. I was just cracking up with him.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same voice actor though, but he was so funny in it though, and I like that it's Nintendo, so you're just harkening back to, of course, Nintendo, right? So that works there, right? Of course, you had to mention Xavier and he drama. When he was about to get married, and then I like how he realizes what happened with Gambit's death, though. You know what I mean? When he's pretty much trying to tell his I should say fiance now, you try to tell her people now, look, like all the all right, I understand why this show can explore that, like him kind of basically saying that, your history is kind of built on just, taken from other civilizations or whatnot. Yeah. Like I know there's a lot of detail going on there, but I like that they didn't go too far with it though. Like a part of me wish that they could have gone a little bit deeper into what it is he was saying, but I like they didn't go too far that it stray away from the point, right? Whereas, Genosha happened and then he realized, wait, no, I need to go. Sorry, hon. I know he was gonna get hitched, but I had to go back, right? And then you get that great final moment, the end of episode 6 now, where he comes back to and is like, to me, my X-Men, right? That absolutely works, right? Even episode 7 was solid as well too. Like I just love how Rogue just went rogue. I just start destroying shit. She went to Thunderbolt Ross' place, just start matching shit up though. Points for incorporating Captain America. I did not see that coming a mile away.
That's a good segue. A good segue into my last point, which is I like how they frame the X-Men, the Avengers as antagonistic from the status quo standpoint, right? And that the Avengers was the X-Men storyline.
That was one of the places I thought they were going to go, because after Genosha, I figured they were going to go there to be like, there's a way to deal with it, and then the X-Men would be like, no, we have to respond, and they would have built that A versus X there.
Right.
I mean, that could always happen later on, but yeah.
Well, the way to me, I find the final episode was a real bad look for the Avengers, because Captain America and fucking Iron Man was in a bunkers. Like, Iron Man, you can't set something up to deal with that thing. What going on with you?
Know, right?
Like, bro, what going on, dude? Like, that had me cracking up to it.
I know we can't replicate the climax of Avengers, right? But I mean, Tony, do something now, like Tony, bro. Like,
that had me cracking up right by days. Like, well, what Tony doing? Tony just chilling. And he's not like he as Tony Stark, yeah. But boy, in the Iron Man suit already, yeah. And he just in a bunker. Like, what going on? And this the devil out in the streets, what going on with you? But that cracked me up, yeah. But yeah. I find they had so many seeds though. Like again, 5 seasons worth of material inside here, Judd. Like by itself. All
right, so we going to wrap up in a little while, folks. Right. So before we get to Tolerance's Extinction, right? The introduction of Bastion into the storyline though was great. Just how he was brought in though with Gyrick though, with him in the hospital bed though. Yeah, it's for me one of the most impactful moments of it too. Right? I think what makes it work too is the song that they use, Purple People Eater as well. It just make that scene so ominous, right? Like the man like come in and literally like just stifle the man, right? Like, what are we going on? And then later on you see that he have Magneto cage. Like I know people make fun of it because Magneto pretty much in the jockey shot or whatnot. But
that's gonna be the Halloween costume for this season. You're gonna see a whole bunch of muscle bound, white wigged, black drawers people walking around for Halloween. Get ready for that.
Yeah, I won't be surprised, right? But I will confess though, I am not familiar with Bastion Dread. Because they kept saying that he went by another name or he was there before, but I don't remember much of the old X-Men show to be like, oh, that's him, right? But forgive me, folks, but there was a point in time I was asking myself if he was Sebastian Shaw,
No.
I know it's not him, but but what I mean, because of how in First Class, he was this Nazi doctor, and then he kind of assumed a new identity and whatnot. You know what I mean? So there was something like that they was gonna pull, but
but Sebastian Shaw does show up in Genosha.
Right,
he does show up like when
that's one the Hellfire Club. Yes, that's true. Yeah,
when there was decided when there was nominating Magneto to become like leader of Genosha.
Right. Now, as we segue now into tolerance is extinction, right? I love Bastion's plan, boy, like this major evil bad guy plan, right? Having human sentinels, that is pure genius, and the idea that they could reproduce, right? And the reasons the man come up with make a lot of sense. So like again, Bo was cooking though. This is the writing that they give like the dialogue they give Bastion, right? Is like, you know what? You're on shit, but I understand where you're coming from. Can you think about the long term, in terms of mutants and humans existing, like
they make that future like particularly dark though, because it's not a dark bombed out future. It's like, no, everybody just living at the expense of the mutants. Like that is a dark future on its own, because it's a sustainable future now. It's not like it's not bombed out or like the typical post-apocalyptic Terminator bullshit. No.
That is the thing, because even
dark one, yeah.
Because even with the thing that we're going to talk about later, when they pan to the future, which is supposed to be 2023 when you think about it, but when they pan to the future, they showed how it's a dark future. It literally is everybody in some sort of concentration camp, and the sky is blacked out and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But Bastion is over here saying, no, this, even Cable talks about the idea of the utopia that Charles was talking about. Bastion actually did it, but he did it on the backs of mutant kind, and that is a darker sentiment, because even I look at our normal everyday existence of, we're doing technology and everything is going in and we're striving to be a better group of people, but at the expense of other people who we think that we could trample on, or other people's rights that we think, them just could stay in the background. That is real. That is dark.
Yeah, they still don't think of them as people.
Yeah. No, they make that work. Like that part of it work is like, okay, that is a real dread moment. The finale of it really worked well. Blastel actually learns the truth of what went down. That whole thing and how that whole situation would have played out differently.
Yes.
That was the case, and they make that work. And his last line is great. That last line is really, really great. It's like, they rather die than create children like us. It's like, wow, that is a really powerful line if you think about it. Like in its own way.
Right.
And the whole what is the thing with the president? Operation Magneto. That was what it's called.
The Magneto protocols.
Magneto protocol. Yeah, it's just nukes. It's just straight up nukes like that.
Yeah. I love that they just blatantly call it the Magneto protocols. Like, when next this guy go rogue, nuke his ass, right? I make a mistake though with Xavier, because he comes in part 1 of Tolerance is Extinction, and he does to me my X-Men. I know that was a big moment that everybody went nuts over it, right?
Yeah.
And then when he comes back though, I love how Cyclops' response is to his return. You know what I mean? Like, there's a great moment where, Xavier being all over dramatic is like, I wanted you guys you and Jean to go off and, live your lives and whatnot, but, all this drama, and I came back to see you. And, like, Cyclops just walked past him, man, like, that moment stood out to me so much, right? Like, like, I was down with you for so much years, right? I literally just bust out. Like, I understand you was dying or whatnot, but you leave with there, like, you don't do that, right? I love where, Rogue even called him out too, like, you should treat us like people, not students. Right. I love that. And I absolutely don't blame Rogue for going back with Magneto. Like that was a great moment, right? Even his sunspot moment makes sense too, right? Because he revealed himself to his mom, and his mom ended up like selling him out too, like in a real egregious way too, right? So I don't blame him at all, right? What catch me completely by surprise, like for me, this is the jaw dropper in the whole season for me though. The end of part 2 and Wolverine Dread and Magneto literally pulling out the adamantium.
They did the thing.
There's that shot.
Everybody on Twitter was like, "Oh my god!"
That shot that closed off Dread.
Yeah, well, that's straight up from Fatal Attractions.
Right, my jaw dropped twice, Dread, because I tell myself, wait, is Wolverine dead?
Right.
Is this
no.
Is he dead?
Finale,
but fortunately, folks, he is not dead. But I have a criticism with that. But when you finish, Ricardo, go on.
Yeah, right. So, you notice in the finale, we didn't get to see Storm, Wolverine, and a Morph, right?
That's one gripe. I was wondering, why the Wolverine though?
Right.
Like,
One possible
condition. He's in a critical state, but like where is he, bro?
Right. So one possible fan theory, one popular fan theory is that they're gonna be horsemen, as well.
Oh,
that'll fill it up before. That filling up the 4 now, because it's 4 of them now. It'll morph. Morph, Wolverine, Gambit, Storm, which really similar to, if anybody remember X-Men Evolution. That Apocalypse arc was pretty well done.
Yeah, I don't remember the arcs
in that Apocalypse arc, it wasn't the Morpher. They needed a Morpher person, but it was Mystique instead. Right? Mystique was one of the Horsemen. Mystique, it was Mystique, Magneto,
Professor Xavier,
and who was the last person, boy? I forget who the fourth person was. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I can't remember.
Huh. All right,
Storm, right? Storm again. It was Storm.
Okay.
Storm was the last person, right? Yeah.
Right.
So they're doing something similar to that. It's like, all right, yeah, they're gonna make it work. So I suspect they might do that, maybe. And then, well, in Fatal Attractions, it's what do you call it? Wolverine becomes feral because of this.
Yeah.
So they might do that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking forward. I feel
they might mix that. Yeah, I feel they might mix it where the Horseman Wolverine might be a feral Wolverine. Like you get the imagery of it now. At least now, or something like that.
All right, so you know what all this talk we're talking about though, we didn't even mention Mr. Sinister though, and how he was incorporated early on with the whole Marlon Pryor arc, right? So I love how he is still worked into the story as well too, right? And also points for the little cameos with Dr. Doom and Baron Zemo. I was like, all right, boy, I see you. That was cool, yeah. What happens to Mr. Sinister at the end though was hilarious. So because when you think about it, remember he prolongs his life by just all
right, so I find
feeding off, not so much feeding off of mutants, but like poking and prodding and dissecting them no. So that's the mere fact that he turns old, and then like great moment where morphs into him. Like show me my face. You know what I mean? Like I love that because Morph has had he's literally had PTSD thanks to Sinister, right? But that was a great moment. I love that. Yeah, Ricardo.
Yeah. All right. So that's my only kind of problem with the finale. I find some of the little plotting was a little clumsy, for me at least. The Phoenix stuff kind of come out of nowhere and then goes away instantly just to solve a single problem.
I was going to say that. I think what also makes that let down for me, just for me though, is that I thought that Marlon would have been alive, Dread. You know what I mean? Like I thought Marlon would have returned as the Phoenix. Like when I saw the Phoenix come out, I was like, wait, is this Marlon? It's like, wait, no, it's Jean. Oh, okay. All right. I just happened for about 30 seconds, and it's cool. I like how they incorporate the water stuff. So I'm thinking X2 here, not so much, other comic book incarnations of the Phoenix, right? I was thinking more of the end of X2, right? But yeah, you know what I mean? She show up, she do she thing, and like about 30 seconds, that was it. I was like, all right, that was nice, but
for me,
not enough though,
Like for me, I didn't have a problem with it because what I was watching is, if at the beginning of every episode, they always tease you some stuff that's coming down. Right. So Phoenix has always been teased in of itself, like when they put like new shots and that kind of stuff, the return of Phoenix, but we haven't seen her. So you realize looking back now, all the things that they would have teased, all the new pieces that they would have teased in the opening credits has now been revealed. So the idea of Phoenix coming back to be like, screw everybody, where I'm going to save my son and I'm being dormant and all that kind of stuff. I was like, okay, I could legitimately go with that and move on with the story.
Yeah. The cameos that we had in this finale with just quickly with the cameos that we had in the finale was cool. Like Daredevil, that was cool. Of course, Ricardo, you mentioned right. That's what I was about to say. Right.
And Mary Jane.
And Mary, yes.
The
implications for that.
Which makes me wonder if they're actually gonna do like a Spider-Man 98.
A lot of people want that.
That's what I was saying. Now that I was saying with my last review of the first 3 episodes of X-Men 97. I was like, well, if this show becomes so successful, let's continue on the Spider-Man animated series, please. Let's do that, right? But I did expect that we would have seen Peter and Mary together. So it's like, well, okay, will we get a show that explains what happens to Peter when he left with Madam Web? I don't know. Please,
how did Peter get Mary Jane back? I'd like to know. How did that happen?
I want to know that too. That was great. Yeah.
So that's me completely when I saw that whole sequence there. I know that you have an animated kind of Ditko-esque series that is coming out. It's set with him in high school still. I think it originally was called Freshman Year. I think they've changed it.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Friendly neighborhood.
Right. So still doing that, right? But that doesn't supposed to be the origin of the Tom Holland stuff?
I think so.
It's set in some weird limbo something. So I'm not entirely sure. It could very well be. You could be right there.
Right.
So we have that happening, but I'm wondering if the success here of how 97 X-Men 97 played, we could actually then, and I'm sure the voice actors are still around, could still then bring the conclusion, if you will, of what goes on with Peter Parker and that Spider-Man. That'd be great.
Yeah. Two more things, and then you'll get the final thoughts later, right? Two more things, right? So one, the moments with Xavier and Eric, i.e. Magneto, I thought were great, though. I love how endearing they were, though, because it really re-established the fact that, yeah, at the end of the day, despite the fact that this is about the world, the end of the world or the future of humans and mutants, they were still friends, right? And they just had these conflicting views about the coexistence between humans and mutants, right? And yeah, those moments, those mental moments, though, absolutely worked, though. I love the symbolism with the Noah's Ark stuff. I love that. That was really cool as well.
This is where the show. I think we get a Polaris cameo in this.
Yes.
Where was this? Remind me.
She was on the boat.
Polaris. We got Polaris. You got Scarlet Witch. You get Quicksilver and Rogue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. I remember that. Yeah. And where that led to, though, with Eric literally remembering. But I love the little bit where he says, I don't remember my parents' faces, right? Like, just that, though. So he's holding on to the death of his parents, even though he can't remember their faces. That, like, again, Bo's cooking, though. Just the depth, though, in terms of the emotion there, absolutely worked for me, though. Those are really riveting moments as well, right? I love how it kind of pairs along with what's going on with Bastion and with Asteroid M crash landing to Earth and all that stuff, right? And then last but not least, though, Apocalypse Boy. You know what I mean? And in this case, though, well, we're seeing, the current Apocalypse. Okay, yeah, he shows up in a mid-credit scene. That caught me by surprise, right? I thought, because we do the whole time loop thing and, some characters in the past and some characters in the future, I thought it was just going to be those two versions of Apocalypse, though. But I see, though, that we're also going to see the current Apocalypse, though, the I am Apocalypse. We're going to see that there, right? So, yeah, that had me excited, though, right? But I love the reveal in, wherever BC, when Magneto was like, who are you or what is your name? It's like En Sabanur, right? I love that. Yeah. The future stuff, however, with Cyclops and Jean, that one I would admit I have to do more research into because I'm not too familiar with the Mother Ascani stuff and
that is Rachel Thomas.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that, so I need to familiarize myself with that, right? So yeah, as a whole, so much to take from this season, though, right? Marvel Studios took a huge gamble, boy. You could tell they put so much depth, dude. There's so much care and love and effort into this show, right? And it's just the title itself, right? 97. Like, we have to continue on this story, right? I make a little joke, though, like I was thinking to myself, the next season should be called 98, but now the way how this ends is like it's clearly gonna be like right after what happened this one here. So we're gonna stick with the 97 stuff. But I legit thought that every subsequent season will be 98 and 99 or something like that. But I guess that's not what they're doing, right? But yeah, though, this is what the year's best shows. I am excited as hell for the next season, boy. Marvel Studios and them, they were cooking. I can't wait for the next season, boy. So for me, like 4.5 out of 5, boy. This is easily one year's best TV shows, man. And I do see myself rewatching this by year's end, so I could just be like, yeah, all right, this thing, picking up on more Easter eggs, right? Is this my top pick for best TV show of the year? No. Like, it's not perfect. It still is.
Shogun exists.
Yeah, I get Shogun exists. By the way, at the time of us recorded this, season 2 and 3 has been greenlit. Thank you, God. Thank you. Great. Yeah. But yeah, this is up there, though. I could easily see this right now in my top 5. That's how great this show was to me, right?
Right.
So, Ricardo, your final thoughts on rating?
Yeah, absolutely love this. I mean, I really was glad they did it the way they did. Just really well thought out, smart. Listen, it just feel like a kind of, the meme, the Simpsons meme where you slap them on the back of your head. This is how you do it, MCU. That kind of stuff. Like, yeah, this is what you have to do with the material. It's not, as I say, we don't have a comic books problem. We have a bad writing problem, right? It's not fatigue. There's a bad writing fatigue. You have to sit down and make the material and think it out and make it current and make it intelligent and so on and so forth. And yeah, I really see they could build from this. What I actually really hope to do, not only we get extra Marvel stuff, but extra Disney stuff. Like, hey, while we at it, get somebody to bring back gargoyles one time now. What's going on?
Thank you. Yes.
They're working on that, by the way.
Yes,
they're working on that.
Yeah, okay.
Working on that.
So, Let's just bring back.
Sorry to say that last season of Gargoyles was trash. Like I love Gargoyles, but that last season was trash.
Yeah, blame O.J. Simpson, right? But
But
for that, to me, just get this material out there and bring back stuff. And this is kind of the general argument that people used to make about remakes. Like, bring back stuff that didn't get a fair shake, right? The general idea. Even though it's that stuff that did get a fair shake and just had more to do, like this show, you could also bring back stuff that didn't get a proper shake or proper ending or proper finale or whatever it is. Have so much shows. Like for me, Pirates of Darkwater will still burn my brain as to not finishing it. Stuff like that.
Would.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thoroughly love this. Disney have the money to pull this off. Sit down with it. You don't have to waste $200 million on goddamn special effects on some garbage television or some garbage show like fucking what do you call it? Secret Wars. That nonsense. Yeah, that crap.
Secret Invasion.
Right, Secret Invasion. Sorry. Yeah, that. Or Ant-Man or whatever the fuck. Like, don't waste money on that crap. Just, get my animation team, get some people who are hungry to make the material work and just sit down with that dread. And yeah, Disney could make it work. I recently watched a video on why it is that one of the Star Wars thing failed. Like, it's their, I forget what it was, like their hotel thing. And yeah, they just waste money on garbage dread. Like, it's just they burn it out, they didn't think about it. And it's nonsense now. Yeah, it's just spending money smart now. Oh, God, man. However, moving on. It was good. Rating,
right.
9 out of 10.
Rating.
Loved it. Loved it.
Sorry. Just repeat that. Rating.
9 out of 10.
Nice. And speaking of Pirates of Darkwater, SWAT cats, please.
Yeah.
SWAT cats, please. Please and thanks. Again,
right? you don't have to necessarily cater to my nostalgia, Like wherever bring back Steven Universe or whatever, do something. Or new shows. The Old House didn't get a good ending. Like, but my attitude is give the money to people who actually like smart and know the shit now. Come on, like
yes,
at a certain point it's starting to get a little ridiculous. Like Bob Iger and them, all check on yourself now. Anyway, moving on.
Daniel, your final thoughts on rating?
Yeah, thoroughly loved this. Marvel cooked. Bodemeo cooked. Loved everything about this show. I loved how they cater to the fans of X-Men. They cater to fans of the 90s show. Love the callbacks to the 90s show, like Graydon Creed. Love the cameos. Love the characters. I mean, we have many years worth of source material for these characters. So if you don't love them now, this will make you love them. I love also one thing that and I didn't get to mention, the political commentary, like in episode 2 as well, and also in Genosha. January 6th, by the way. January 6th in episode 2, by the way. And also, thoroughly loved it. Gotta say, final rating 9 out of 10. Yeah, this is one of the year's best.
Nice. And lastly, Tracy, final thoughts and rating.
All right, I'm giving this an A+. I'm going to do a 9 out of 10 as well. I will tell you the level of hype. Like, I love watching reaction videos and that kind of stuff. And the level of hype that I felt and that I saw was, you remember when WandaVision first came out and everybody was like every week wondering what the hell and what we doing and oh my God, and there was a whole conversation.
Yeah, those were fun times though. 2021 was fun for that. Yeah.
And I feel that we have that there. So I have no issues with it. I only hope, because I've resigned myself, no matter how it plays out, I've resigned myself to when the X-Men comes up on the screen live action, it's not going to be anywhere near this. I've resigned myself to that. It's going to be good, but it's not going to be this. But I do hope that whoever gets to write and direct the live action X-Men gets to sit down with whether it is Bo or the rest of the team and say, what did you guys do? And figure it out. So that when you actually do it, it's something, you can take a completely different take. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. It's your vision. But just sit down with them and say, how did you pull this off in such a way? So that is kind of where I stand. 9 out of 10, A+, bring on season 2, and 3 and 4 and 5.
Yeah, please do. I'm bringing out X-Men 98 and 99 and 2000. Yeah.
Yes,
they play on some Y2K shit, man. Like
bring back Evolution. Evolution was a solid show, you know.
Imagine if they do some kind of like weird crossover episode with that.
They could do that. Possible.
Yeah,
totally.
the possibilities are endless right now.
They're absolutely obsessed with multiverse in all the wrong ways, but you know.
But X-Men 97, one of the year's best TV shows. Definitely check it out.